During World War II, German U-boats deployed the Wolf Pack tactic in the Atlantic, causing many Allied merchant ships to sink to the bottom of the sea. Even warships had to be extremely cautious, as they could be vulnerable to deadly attacks if caught off guard by the submarines. The Italian submarine fleet, as allies, was not as effective in this regard, but it did not mean they were inactive. At that time, Italy planned to build a fleet of underwater units, with the CB-class Midget submarines as the main force, to be deployed in the shallow waters of the Mediterranean and the Black Sea, resembling a small wolf pack. The CB-class submarine is quite small, with a surface displacement of only 35.4 tons, a submerged displacement of 44.3 tons, and a length of 15 meters. Its design followed the structure of most submarines at that time, with a destroyer-style bow, a small conning tower, and the entire submarine only requiring 3 to 4 crew members to operate. The CB-class submarine is equipped with a 90 horsepower Isotta Freschini diesel engine and a 100 horsepower Brown Bowry electric motor, with a single-shaft propulsion system. It can reach a maximum speed of 7.5 knots on the surface and 7 knots underwater, with a maximum range of 1,400 nautical miles at an economical cruising speed of 5 knots on the surface, and a maximum range of 50 nautical miles at a speed of 3 knots underwater. Its maximum diving depth is 70 meters. The only combat weapon of this submarine is the 450 mm torpedo launch tubes installed on both sides of the hull. The rear chamber of the launch tube can be opened to load torpedoes, and the ammunition replenishment is relatively easy. The submarine commander can observe and target the enemy through a small periscope device. The torpedoes can also be replaced with mines to secretly block key sea lanes. Italy ordered a total of 72 CB-class Midget submarines, with the first batch totaling 6 completed in 1941. If all these submarines were completed and became combat-ready, the Allies would have to take these little wolves seriously, as they could potentially play a role in amphibious operations. As the German forces were focused on the Eastern Front at the time, they hoped Italy would divert naval forces to the Black Sea to confront the Soviet Black Sea Fleet. Therefore, the first batch of CB-class submarines operated in the Black Sea and were transported there by rail. One of the submarines was sunk by Soviet aircraft, and the remaining 5 submarines achieved a victory by sinking a 700-ton Soviet submarine in 1943. Later, due to unfavorable war conditions, the 5 submarines were transferred to Romania and scuttled, but the Soviet Navy salvaged 4 of them, repaired them, and put them back into service. The CB-class submarines that served in the Mediterranean had little impact. This was partly due to their relatively late completion, and partly due to Italy switching sides. As a result, they did not engage in combat with Allied warships. Some of the lost submarines were mainly controlled by the German forces and handed over to friendly forces, and these submarines were mostly destroyed in Allied air raids. Interestingly, the Yugoslav Partisans once obtained one of these submarines, and it served in the Yugoslav Navy after the war. Some believe that this Midget submarine inspired the country to invest a lot of research and development effort into Midget submarines after the war. As for the CB-class submarines that surrendered to the Allies during World War II, the British Navy scrapped them in 1948 after taking them over.